Let's be real. The whole God thing can feel a little outdated, right? Like something your grandparents talked about or a concept from a history class. You've got science, you've got the Big Bang, you've got 1,000 different religions all claiming they have the answer. And honestly, it's easy to just shrug and say, whatever, I'll stick with what I can see and touch. But what if the proof for God's existence wasn't hidden in some ancient, dusty book, or whispered in a quiet church? What if it was staring us in the face this whole time, in the language of science itself? What if the very universe, the laws of physics, and even our own sense of right and wrong were all screaming for a designer? For the next few minutes, forget everything you think you know. Forget the stereotypes, forget the arguments you've heard a million times. We're going on a legit scientific investigation. We're going to look at the evidence and see if we can actually find God, not in a Sunday school lesson, but in a lab coat. Before we dive into the cosmic detective work, I want to say something. If you're into breaking down big ideas like this, and you want to see more content that challenges assumptions and explores faith from a fresh angle, hit that subscribe button. We're on a mission to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every single one helps us keep digging into these topics. All right, let's get into it. Our first piece of evidence, our first cosmic clue, comes from the very beginning. The universe had a beginning. For centuries, many scientists and philosophers believed the universe was eternal. It just was. No beginning, no end. But then, the 20th century happened, and with it came some mind-blowing discoveries. Think Edwin Hubble, Albert Einstein, and the Big Bang Theory. Science now overwhelmingly tells us the universe isn't eternal. It had a starting gun, a moment zero. The Big Bang wasn't just a theory. It's supported by mountains of evidence. The expanding universe, the cosmic microwave background radiation, and the abundance of light elements. It's not just a guess, it's a scientific consensus. The universe, as we know it, began. And here's the thing about beginnings. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. This isn't some ancient philosophical riddle. It's fundamental to how we understand reality. Your phone? Caused by engineers and factories. This video? Caused by me and my team. The chair you're sitting on? Caused by a carpenter. Even a simple domino falling is caused by the one before it. We intuitively understand that things don't just pop into existence from nothing, uncaused. That would be magic, not science. So, if the universe began to exist, then logically, it must have a cause outside of itself. This cause couldn't be part of the universe because it existed before the universe. It couldn't be bound by time, space, or matter because it created time, space, and matter. Think about that for a second. We're talking about something, or someone, that is transcendent. Something powerful enough to kickstart everything from absolute nothingness. This isn't a God of the gaps argument, where we just insert God where science hasn't found an answer yet. This is science itself pointing to a beginning, and a beginning, by its very nature, points to a beginner, a first cause, a prime mover. Whatever you want to call it, it sounds an awful lot like God. Now, some might argue, what caused God? But that misses the point. If everything that begins to exist has a cause, and this first cause is, by definition, eternal and uncaused, then the question doesn't apply. It's like asking, what's north of the North Pole? The question itself is flawed because it misunderstands the definition. Science points to a beginning, and a beginning points to a beginner that is beyond the constraints of the universe it created. Let's now talk about clue number 2. The universe is perfectly tuned for life. Moving from the beginning to the conditions of the universe, imagine you walk into a casino and you see someone roll a dice and it lands on a 6. Okay, cool. Then they roll it again, another 6. And again, and again. This happens a million times in a row. You'd think it was rigged, right? You'd assume there's some intelligence, some design, behind such an astronomically improbable outcome. Well, the universe is like that, but way, way more precise. Scientists have discovered that the fundamental laws of physics, the cosmic constants, things like the gravitational constant, the strong nuclear force, the electromagnetic force, the expansion rate of the universe, the mass of a proton, they are all set to incredibly precise values. If any of these values were even slightly different, life as we know it, or any life at all, would be impossible. We're talking about margins so razor thin that it makes winning the lottery 1 billion times in a row look like a sure bet. For example, if the strong nuclear force were just 2% weaker, atomic nuclei wouldn't hold together, and no atoms heavier than hydrogen could form. No carbon, no oxygen, no you. If it were 2% stronger, there would be no hydrogen and stars couldn't form. If the gravitational constant were slightly different, stars wouldn't burn stably, or they'd collapse too quickly. If the expansion rate of the universe after the Big Bang was off by even 1 part in a quintillion, that's a 1 followed by 18 zeros, the universe would either have collapsed back on itself or expanded too rapidly for stars and galaxies to form. No stars, no planets, no life. It's like the universe's physics were set on a difficulty slider, and it was put on the one setting that allows us to exist. This isn't just luck, it's an absurd level of precision. Scientists call this phenomenon fine-tuning. It's a term used by physicists, not theologians, to describe the astonishing precision of the universe's parameters. When you look at the numbers, the probability of this happening by random chance is so infinitesimally small that it beggars belief. It points to an intelligent designer, a cosmic architect who set the dials just right. I call it design. Some might propose the multiverse theory. Maybe there are infinite universes, and we just happen to be in the one where everything worked out. But even if the multiverse theory were proven, it doesn't explain why there's a multiverse, or why the laws governing the multiverse allow for such a vast array of possibilities. It just pushes the question of design one step further back. It's still a question of ultimate origin and ultimate design. The fine-tuning of our universe remains a powerful clue pointing to an intelligent creator. Clue number 3, we know what's good and evil. Now, let's change the topic from the cosmos to consciousness. While science excels at describing how the universe works, some observations about us, about human experience, push beyond physics and chemistry. This next clue isn't about telescopes or test tubes, but about something even more fundamental to being human, our sense of morality. If we're just random accidents, evolved from primordial soup, why do we have this deep, universal sense of right and wrong? Why do we instinctively know that torturing babies is bad and helping others is good? This isn't just cultural programming, it's wired into us. Every society across all time has some form of moral code. We recognize justice, compassion, courage, and self-sacrifice as virtues. We condemn cruelty, betrayal, and oppression. Think about it. Even an atheist would likely agree that genocide is wrong. Why? If morality is purely subjective, just a matter of opinion or social convention, then who are we to say that one culture's values are better than another's? But deep down, we know it's more than that. We know some things are objectively good, and some are objectively evil. We feel a moral ought, a sense of obligation to do what is right, even when it's difficult or goes against our self-interest. Where does that come from? If there's no ultimate moral lawgiver, then morality is just a byproduct of evolution, a survival mechanism. But if that's the case, then our moral feelings are no more significant than our taste for sugar or our fear of heights. They're just impulses, yet we treat moral truths as universal and binding. We believe in human rights, not just human preferences. This points to a moral standard that transcends human opinion, and a moral standard points to a moral lawgiver. Someone who instilled that sense of right and wrong within us, and who embodies perfect goodness. Let's now talk about the fourth clue, the origin of life and information in DNA. The jump from non-living matter to the first self-replicating cell is still one of science's biggest mysteries. Even if we had all the right chemical ingredients, how did they spontaneously organize into something as complex as a living cell? A cell isn't just a bag of chemicals. It's an incredibly sophisticated factory, complete with information storage, DNA, machinery for replication, energy production, and waste disposal. It's like a miniature city, all working in perfect harmony. And then there's DNA. It's not just a molecule, it's an information code. It's a language, a set of instructions that tells a cell how to build and operate. Think about a computer program or a book. They contain complex specified information. We know that complex specified information always comes from an intelligent source. You wouldn't find a fully functional computer program or a Shakespearean sonnet forming randomly in a primordial soup. DNA is far more complex than any computer code we've ever written. To suggest it arose purely by chance, without any intelligent input, is to ignore the most fundamental principle of information science. The sheer complexity and specified information within even the simplest living organism points to an intelligent designer. It's not just complex, it's functionally complex, designed to do specific things. This isn't a random jumble of parts, it's an intricate system. And intricate systems with specified information almost invariably point to an intelligent mind behind them. So, what's the takeaway? While science can't put God in a test tube, it points powerfully to a creator. The universe's beginning, its intricate design, our innate sense of morality, and the complex information encoded in life itself aren't just random coincidences. They're clues. Clues that, when pieced together, form a compelling case for a transcendent, intelligent, and moral creator. They suggest that science and faith might not be enemies after all. They might be telling the same story. The story of a God who is real, who is intelligent, who is good, and who is the ultimate source of everything we observe. So, the next time someone tells you science and God are incompatible, tell them to look closer. Tell them to look at the Big Bang, the fine-tuning, the moral compass within us, and the code of life itself. Because when you truly oversimplify it, the universe isn't just a random accident, it's a masterpiece. And every masterpiece has a master. And that, my friends, is a scientific conclusion worth exploring.